Welcome to this DaVinci Resolve Fusion node breakdown. Today's node is the uExport node. So we're going to jump into Fusion, and we've got the same setup we used, I believe yesterday for our uTransform node. And we're going to cover exporting this to use our USDs in different programs. Because let's be honest, that's what the whole point of USD is. So we can share it and work in different areas. But I'm going to let you know, Fusion in USD is not going to transcribe the same as if you were like going from Blender to Houdini or Houdini to Maya or any other program. It's just not going to capture your USD the way you think it would. So let's jump in and I'll show you what I mean. So we're going to bring in a uExport, and we're going to place this after our merge. Now on the uExport node, we have the ability to export the stage and select what format. So there's your typical four formats for USDs, which is USD, USDA, USDC, and USDZ. And I'm going to go ahead and export all these out, and I'll explain which each of these are after we export. So let's go ahead and export, and I will name this USD export. I'm going to select USDA. I'll name this USDA export. We'll select USDC, USDC export, and finally USDZ. So we've got our four exports here. And if you notice, there's a pretty big size difference. So our USD export is going to be just basic binary information. So that is it. That's all it's sending across is binary info. And if I open this up in, say, Notepad, you can see it's a bunch of binary info. And if you can read this and edit it, great. But that's a little difficult. Our USDA is also like basic API information we can open up and view, but we can edit this. So I can edit with Notepad, and you notice it's the same binary info, but for humans to be able to read. So there's all kinds of information about our shaders. And if we keep going, these are all of our primitive info. And we can eventually find, say, our camera or our lights somewhere. And there's our dome light. There's our disk light. And we can read all this float data and this transform data that's in here. So right now our color temperature for our disk light is set at 6500. But you could technically come in here and change this to 3200. And if I just save it, that just changed our entire USD file, our light color. So you can do this with any of the data in here. So it's an easy way to edit your actual USD information. And then we've got our USDC, which is basically a compressed binary file. And we can also open this, and you can see it's a compressed binary file. And your USDZ is a packaged file. And I'm not going to try to open this because it's not going to open correctly in Notepad. It'll probably lock up. But you see the size difference. That's because it's packing that info and all that texture and all that fun stuff in this file. So let's go ahead and jump in Blender and see what these files do. So we've exported our info out of Fusion, and we want to edit it, or we send it off to somebody else to edit in a different program like Blender or Houdini or Maya or whatever they're using. So let's open up Blender. And I'm going to delete all this. And I'm going to import one of our USD files. Import USD. And let me find it. And let's go ahead and bring in this USDA. And right off the bat, you see it's super tiny. So it's super small, so our scaling is wrong. So let's undo that. File, import. And I'm going to select that, but I'm going to come over here to our scaling. And I'm going to scale this to 10. Now our light intensity scale, I know by default coming out of Fusion is going to be extremely bright. So I'm going to go ahead and change this to 0.1 right now. And we're going to import our USD. And there we go. We've got our little scene that we created in Fusion now in Blender. But what does this look like in our real renderers? So let's go ahead and just change this to cycles, GPU. And let's look at our render. And the first time we render this, it's going to take a little while because it's unpacking the HDRI, the lights and all that fun stuff. So go ahead and hit it and hit 0 to look at our camera view. And this is what we get. So that's a pretty big difference between this and this. But if we go up to render, let's render our image. And I probably should have changed our sample count, but that's fine. And that's what we get. But we can go in here and do any editing we need. And for instance, I can tell this HDRI is a little dark. So let's see what it did to our textures. Let's jump into our shader editor. Let's go to world. And we're going to zoom in and see how it set up our little world EXR. And right here, our strength is lower. Because when we lowered the lighting, it's kind of taken this into account as well. So this disk light would have been way too bright, but it ended up making our HDR extra dark. So I'm just going to make this 1. So now our HDRI is where it's supposed to be. And let's denoise this a little bit. And now also there's a big difference on how our HDRIs react in like a real 3D program as opposed to Fusion. So let's jump back into Fusion and let's go to our dome light. If I go to our transform node and transform our dome light around, you can just see all the lights are shining, they're showing. It's really not how an HDRI is really supposed to be reacting on our little shapes there in our reflections. So let's jump back into Blender. And first, let's go ahead and change these colors and roughness. So we can come in here and change our textures. And let's make this blue. Let's select this one. Let's make this orangish. Change our roughness down, and then go back to our HDRI. And now as we change our HDRI, you can see we are getting correct lighting, but it's still a little glitchy. And then we can come up here and we can find our disk light. Go to our light and we can bring this down because it's still a little too bright. There we go. So we've just changed our scene. So let's go ahead and export this out and see how it looks in Fusion. So we're going to export USD And that was our USDA. We'll just add Blender on this. We're going to export. And let's disconnect all these shapes. Jump over here. And bring in a U loader. And let's find our Blender export. Input it. Give it a second. And that's what we get. So, very big difference from this to this. So that's kind of my point. If you're creating stuff, you're better off creating in a 3D program that is dedicated, but you can still create stuff and use USD and bring it in. But you can tell our nodes aren't quite, our shapes and our lighting and all that stuff isn't quite as good as it is in Blender. Now, when you bring this back in, you can see, all we can see is our shapes. We can't see our lighting or anything. Now, this is where our U transform that we went over yesterday comes in handy. So if we plug our U transform in, we go up to our primitive selection and pick, you can see we still have all that information there. So we've got our environment light, we've got our meshes, we've got our camera, our disk light, and our dome light. So if we need to change our camera, we can hit OK, and then we can transform that on the X and the Y. We're just not going to be able to actually see our camera in the scene, but it is there. So if you need to know what is and what isn't on your scene, a good way is to just throw a U transform in, select your pick, and see what transforms and what was brought back in. So that is the uExport node. I will see you in the next node breakdown.